Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Tons of occupations have to wear scrubs like veterinarians and vet techs. I would never assume someone wearing scrubs was a doctor or even in the medical field. People are crazy. I walked into a pharmacy wearing scrubs, so Karen appointed me as head doctor. So little old groggy me, medical intern, is finally leaving the hospital after a 36-hour-long shift, the second of the week. It's a Friday, and I'm really looking forward for everything to go dark as soon as my head hits the pillow, but first I need to go to a pharmacy. In my country, some pharmacies have a small lab adjacent where COVID tests can be taken, and a few lab technicians, chemists, and general practitioners may be found to do certain procedures, run certain tests, and make common diagnoses. Here's the thing. They're all wearing the full one-piece white hooded suits and protective gear you've all seen so much. I'm wearing surgical scrubs. So in enters a very sleep-deprived little old me to the pharmacy, who immediately goes on to examine the toothpaste and brushes. After a little while, I hear a throat being cleared, so I say, "Oh, my bad," and scoot over closer to the shelves to let the person walk by. Wrong answer. The person replies, "No, I need you to take a look at me. The line to the appointments area is too long." Confused, I turn and see an all-too-familiar look, a curly, bleached, shoulder-length haircut, blue eyelid makeup that looks more like two slapped-in Post-it notes than anything else, eye-searing lipstick, and pink, glistening claws to go along with a predatory cat-patterned top. "Oh, I don't work here," I reply, knowing it won't do. "I work in a hospital," I say, hoping it's just enough justification for Karen to understand why I'm dressed this way. She, of course, dismisses my claim and says I must work here as I'm uniformed and stacking shelves. Yikes, the Karen logic. I simply reply, "Nope, but I'm sure an employee will be happy to help you." Karen replies with, "You're a health worker, why don't you help me?" As an intern, I don't even have my degree yet. I can't and shouldn't do much even if I wanted to, and I simply reply, "I'm not on duty, and I don't." She interrupts. "Hey," snaps her fingers. "Hey," snaps her fingers. "I paid for my ticket just like everyone else. You will see me." Me. Again, I don't work here, and I have no obligation to do random consults on the wild whenever you please, lady. A floor tile nearly broke upon the agaping of her jaws. At this point, she's pissed. As if summoned by her indignation, a manager walks over and asks if all is well. Karen seizes her opportunity to talk faster than you can blink. "No, this employee is very rude. I want him fired." Manager, "Ma'am, he does not work here. Our employees wear—" Karen, "He works here. Stop trying to cover for him. You need to fire him now. His behavior is unacceptable. He refuses to help me." Manager, "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to stop harassing customers or leave." Karen, now enraged, letting out a hybrid between a roar and a sigh. "Oh, I can't believe the audacity of you people to treat customers here. This is outrageous." She slaps the products off the closest shelf, sending items flying into the manager and me, an accusatory pink-clawed index finger flying erratically. "I will not give you sphincter holes any business, and I hope this putrid little pharmacy goes under." She storms off, a huffing and a puffing. I hurry off to pay and leave before she looks at the appointment ticket still clutched in her other hand and realizes she paid for something she's not used and decides to return, demanding a refund or, worse, attention. I exit the pharmacy and movement catches my eye. I turn and I see Karen inside her SUV, foaming from the mouth, clutching her steering wheel and violently pushing and pulling herself. Then she sees me. The horror. I walk faster, trying not to look at her. She lowers a window and starts screaming some more at me. I ignore her and hurry to my escape pod on wheels. Escape successful. And our next story. X has power of attorney and is trying to sell off everything I own. I've gone from terrified to white-hot anger to just cold in my stomach and all sorts of other feelings, and it's taking me some time to write this, so I apologize for anything which is unclear. Background. I was just out of the country for over 2 months while I was being treated by specialists for medical problems I have. During that time, I had my personal valuables kept at a storage company, which was supposed to be good for security since I don't have close family and didn't want to leave things like my computer sitting around in my apartment for that long. I also have some payments I get, which I made sure would automatically go to an account because I have renters in my old house and want to make sure certain bills get paid without me having to think about it. I thought it was all set up good enough that I could be out of the country and focus on what I needed to focus on, then come back to everything as I left it. A while ago, when I was in a lot of pain and on a lot of medication, I had a lawyer help me make sure my now ex could make decisions for me if I was incapacitated. Honestly, I had totally forgotten about this because at the time I was very foggy. I barely remember anything about it. The night before my flight, my ex told me they could not be with me anymore because of my health problems, saying I was going to die and they didn't want to be with me for that. My issues are pretty bad, and yes, my life will maybe not be as long as it might have been, but I really couldn't deal with that at the time mentally, so I just said okay and went on my trip. We'd been together for 16 months, but not strictly living together. Now, I came back to learn somehow my ex had started taking and maybe selling everything. They have paperwork saying I was incapacitated, plus the power of attorney I granted them. I was not incapacitated at any time during my treatment. I don't know what doctor could have signed such a thing. During the time I was gone, my exes used this to check my belongings out of storage and have no idea where my things are. I'm worried it's all been sold. Stuff has also been taken out of my apartment. The tenants in my house were told by my ex that I was bedridden and they'd have to move so my house could be sold. They're month to month and took this at face value and already moved out before I got back. They informed me that a realtor had been showing the house to people. I managed to get in touch with the realtor, and when I got him to understand the situation, he freaked out. There's already a buyer because my house was listed very far under market value. Stuff was already signed. Some money has already been paid. The buyers are already getting ready to move in. I told him to cancel everything and that this was not authorized in any way. He said the paperwork my ex had was legit and he needs to figure out how to handle this. I'm waiting for more details. The account I set up before I left is cleaned out down to pennies, and I missed an important payment because of this. The bank says, yes, my ex accessed my account and everything was in order because I was incapacitated. My ex knew I was setting this account up and what it was for. They probably got details about it from my apartment. I've talked to my ex and the police. My ex barely responds, but when I stood at their door and screamed, they finally told me that I was in a coma. Not true, so they had to sell my things for me. I think I heard them saying, "You won't need it anyway," through the door. The police are telling me a few things. I tried to report my ex for theft for stealing my things from storage and was told it's a civil issue. I told them the rest of the story, and it's like they don't even know how to respond to me. Sitting at the police station seems to just be wasting my time because no one there seems to be able to do anything. They say, come back tomorrow when someone else will be there. Supposedly, officers went to my ex's place and were shown the paperwork. Tomorrow, I'm going to see a lawyer who advertises help with elder abuse, power of attorney fraud, which is the closest thing I could find. Update. I'm a woman in my early 30s and my ex is a man around the same age. It's been a strange few days. I met with my lawyer Monday morning and she was very supportive. Even though she usually deals with elder abuse, she said my situation was very much within her expertise and seemed excited to have me as a client. She was also very angry. After last Saturday, I've not had a lot of emotional energy, so it was nice to see someone be like that on my behalf. I spent a while in my lawyer's office, and later in the day, my ex called me, but my lawyer had told me not to talk to him for now, so I didn't answer. We listened to a message together, though, and my ex said he was selling things for my benefit and was investing it for me to help with any bills I have to pay. My ex also said they were interested in getting back together since I came back safely from my trip. My lawyer laughed and said it was a very surreal moment. After just a day, my lawyer found out that my ex had done something like this before. He'd been with a person who was very sick for a while, then took off with the contents of a joint account and their car right before they died. The person's estate got into a legal battle with my ex and got the car back, but not the money in the end. She thinks this is basically what my ex was doing to me and that they probably did it other times too, but was not always sued over it, or it was in other states. The whole relationship we had was just fake, I guess, and he misread the situation when I was leaving to go see specialists, thinking I was probably not coming back. That also explains why he never had a job if he just makes money off people like me. My lawyer sent a lot of letters out to lots of places on Monday, including one to my ex. They were all about revoking the power of attorney I'd granted, and the one to my ex had a bunch of demands in it, telling him to produce my money and belongings as well as copies of the power of attorney and the other documents my ex had about me. She spoke with the realtor and some other people about my house, and the unfortunate reality is I should probably let the sale happen and take the money. That's not really what I wanted to hear, but it's not the end of the world. She also had me get someone to change the locks on my apartment. Wednesday was a weird day because my ex showed up at my lawyer's office with some of my stuff. I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what that was like, but I do have my computer back. My ex also produced the access codes for online investments made with my money, which seems to have pissed off my lawyer because it's going to be a headache making sure I get all my money back. She's dealt with this before and is going to help me recover as much of it as possible. She also says we'll almost definitely be going after my ex for money because there are a lot of problems with what he did, and the power of attorney itself is very suspect, but she needs to talk to the hospital and some other people first. My lawyer says it's a big deal that the paperwork my ex was using to say I was incapacitated is from when I was hospitalized, around the time my power of attorney actually happened. To sum it all up, now I have my computer back, but my money's in online investments, and it may be difficult to get the full value back. It's also likely that the rest of the money from the sale of my house is coming directly to me. My lawyer is super awesome, and she's spending a lot of time devoted to this for me, which feels really good. I just saw my local doctor, and he doesn't like that I'm under so much stress right after I came home, so I'm going to try and relax. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.